So this evening, we're really honoured to have a gentleman. Please, I'm calling him a good friend now. Actually, we've known each other for a couple of years. He's a world champion boxer. Been through the mill. Plenty of look. He's even got his moves that he can't help himself. So the reason we brought Billy on is because obviously in the ring, it's rejection all the time. You get in the ring, you're going to get hit. That's a rejection, right? So it's similar to when we're out in the field, we're talking to people. People say, "Oh, I'm not interested. It's not for me." Left hook. It's your spouse thinks you're mad. There's a right hook. It's a Ponzi scheme. There's an uppercut and there's a knockout potentially. Whatever. So Billy's been through all that. He's fully experienced, all that sort of stuff. And that's what we get all day. It's not just in Cash FX, it's in general life. That's what happens, in all aspects of life, because that's how you move forward. And the way to win is by keep moving forward, taking the hits and just move forward. And I'm sure that's what Billy's done. So no further ado, Billy, it's down to you, my friend. If you'd like to, you've unmuted. So in fact, I'm just going to mute everybody again quickly and then unmute Billy when you're ready. Can you hear me, Billy? I don't think he's unmuted. Billy, we can't hear you. Billy?
Here we go. You got me?
Yeah. Billy, do I need to do that American introduction thing that you love or not?
I would love for you to do that. Come on, let me get my screen up and let's get do your magical piece.
Right, guys, I'm sorry about this. I did try and practice earlier today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lightweight champion of the world, Billy Schwer.
The crowd go wild.
How was that, Billy?
Rubbish.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be a motivational session.
You need a bit of work. We need to work on that a little piece. So here we go. Dominic, thank you for allowing me to be with you all. I've been involved in the business for some time. I got involved purely because of Dominic, and his story is so compelling and so exciting. I don't know about you. My main business and my main focus is personal coaching and public speaking. So that's my main thing, but I'm looking to have multiple streams of income. So with having Dominic in my corner, fighting alongside me, with me and for me, that's all we want, right? It's all about teamwork, because we all know without teamwork, the dream don't work. So we're going to talk about tonight how to win more often in 2021. It's not about winning all the time. It's about winning more often, because if we win more often, consistently over time, we'll eventually win the game that we're playing. And that's what we're up to. It's about consistent effort over time. Then you are going to become the winner. So what we're going to cover and what you're going to discover, how to be the cause, not at the effect of your life. Get on the front foot and cause your life. We're also going to discover how to leave the past in the past while being fully responsible for the future. Now, we're all about the future, creating and designing a future, right? And what we're also going to discover, how to be resilient, powerful in the face of adversity, setbacks, and defeat. Because we've all probably experienced them in some form or another in our lives. So we want to be resilient and powerful in those situations and circumstances. So what we're going to cover, we will cover the 7-step winning formula. Now, these 7 steps are what had me become a world boxing champion. And I use these every day, and I live by these every day. And these are what have me be a success that I am today. And I sit here before you tonight, I'm happier, more fulfilled and satisfied than I've ever been. And it hasn't always been that way. So the 7-step winning formula will allow you to have that and experience that. Step number 1, win or lose, you choose. KO fear, step number 2, fight for what you want. Get clear, get focused, have a vision and fight for it. Number 4, you're only as good as your next fight. It's all about the future. Number 5, take it on the chin. Sometimes in life, we have to take a few on the chin, and it's all about how we come back from our defeats and setbacks. Jab a move, look for a new way of winning. If you're not getting the results that you want for yourself in your life, let's have a look at doing things maybe a little bit different. Step number 7 is boxing clever. Now, I promise you, if you apply these 7 steps to yourself personally, to your work, to your business, to your cash FX business especially, because that's the context for tonight, it will impact your life and you will produce world-class results. So I want you to start to consider, what does world-class look like to you? What does a world-class you look like? What does a world-class cash FX business look like? Now that's exciting. And what does a world-class life look like to you? I want you to start to really think about that and create that. And here's a few clips of world-class.
Please welcome now to the House of Legends, Billy Schwer. Schwer's the far better technician. Schwer come out like a steam train here. He's over. Billy Schwer has retained the European lightweight title with a sizzling performance. World Championship next stop. Good work from Schwer in the crowd. Get behind him once more. Billy Schwer's turned on the performance of his career. And the bell goes. And the news. He's done it!
And there we go. Dominic, that's your piece to go. And anyway, so how to win more often in 2021. So we're approaching, I just look at each year, 12 months of the year, like a championship fight. Now, a championship fight has 12 rounds. So we are just about to enter into round number 4, which is April. So I want you to consider, how was the first 3 rounds, how they've gone. Are you ahead on points? Are you even or are you behind? But we can win. We can still win the game, which is 2021. So how are we going to do that? First and foremost, we think we can. Just take that away from tonight. It's all about thinking, because what you think about, you get more of. So we're just focusing on winning and being the success that you know you can be. That's what's available. And that's what's possible. But I mentioned it earlier. It's impossible to get to the top on your own, because without teamwork, the dream don't work. So we've all got Dominic in our corner. So he's the man we got to look by his example. Success leaves clues. So he's a successful man in all areas of his life. So it's just the traits that people like him have. They're the ones to follow. And that's what's going to have us win more often. And I want you to look at and consider who's in your corner, who's got your back, who's fighting alongside you and with you. It's so, so important to have the right team around you. Some people may drag you down, but we want the ones who are going to uplift us, empower us, and inspire us to get what we want from this life. Now, if you'd like to have me in your corner fighting with you, let's have a conversation another time, because that is what I do. I am a personal performance coach. I've worked with Dominic personally. I've worked with his staff, his company. So that's what I do. So I want to really just request that you really engage in this conversation that we're going to have for the next 40 odd minutes or so. And let's have an experience, because that's how we learn. We learn through experiences. If you think about it, we read books, we get information, we take loads of information in, but it's about the implementation of the knowledge, the learning, and then we go and have an experience in life. And Cash FX is such an experiential learning business, because it's a bit like boxing. You're going to get knockbacks. You're going to get a flat nose. You're going to get bloody eyes. It's going to be a little bit tough sometimes. And it's about digging deep in those challenging times and follow the leaders, because they're leading the way for us all to just follow them, because they've done it. So I invite you to really take that on. And I'm going to share with you the 7-step winning formula. So I'm going to share with you some key distinctions that will give you an access to a new way of thinking. I want you to leave here tonight thinking and feeling differently about the future. I want you to get really connected to what it is that you want. What do you want from the Cash FX business? What do you want it to give you? What do you want it to provide for you, for yourself, your family? What's it going to be? It's going to give you an access to something. So then we got to look at how we can be a success at that. So I got to the top. I won the world title. It was a lifetime's work in pursuit of a dream. I have a dream. Now, we all know who said that. Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King had a dream. I had a dream. Dreams do come true. Again, get connected to what it is that you want. What are your dreams? What do you desire? And is it a burning desire for you to follow through on? So I got to the top in what is arguably the toughest sport there is, professional boxing. But then my future history, it took a turn for the worse because I crashed and burned in my next fight, my first defense of the title. Bang, I got knocked out. Game over. So there I am in the back of an ambulance on the way to hospital. The sirens are blaring. We're dodging through the traffic. I was conscious, but I was uncertain of my future health. I was frightened because I stepped up into the ring that night, as I always did, prepared to die, kill or be killed. And maybe I was about to. That's what I was thinking. Professional boxing is a brutal, beautiful business. And it was in that moment, in the back of that ambulance, that I realized that my life as I know it was over. And that was when I made the toughest decision I've ever made, to retire from boxing. Have you ever made a life-changing decision? They're tough. They're tough, right? It's not easy. My whole world imploded. I went through identity crisis because my whole life I've been Billy the Boxer. And now there I am as a 31-year-old man. I've just lost my world title and I'm just Billy. Who's Billy? I really started to question, who am I? What am I doing? What's the meaning of life? Have you ever asked yourself that question? What's the meaning of it all? Why do I do what I do? What's it about? Those questions. And that's when these two words came together. I was going for an identity crisis and I was having a mental boxing match with a voice in my head. You know, the voice in your head, you know, that voice, that little voice, the one that keeps jabbing away at you. The boxing match that you have with yourself about, you know, the one, am I good enough? I'm not good enough. Will I fit in? I don't belong, especially in this industry, this Cash FX. Am I going to get it right? Am I going to look stupid? Am I going to fail? What are they going to think of me? It's all of that stuff. That's the internal battle that we've got to have, especially in this Cash FX business, because that's the one we've got to overcome. And that's the one that's going to have us be the success that we can be. It's all possible. Mental boxing. And when I retired from boxing, I couldn't see a future for myself outside of the boxing ring. I no longer had a purpose. I didn't have a vision. I had nothing to live into. And I really suffered and I struggled. I was going through my identity crisis and I really doubted I'll be that good at anything ever again, because I've been a world-class athlete. It's like, so now what? I mean, some days I just didn't even have the will to get out of bed because I had nothing to get out of bed for. I was stuck in deep depression. I went on a decline. I crashed. And the first 2 years of my retirement were the worst 2 years of my life. Deep depression. Struggling, mental breakdown. I wrecked my marriage, which ended up in divorce. I was on the way to becoming bankrupt. I got caught up in the 2008 recession. I had some properties repossessed. My home was repossessed. I had no money. I had no future. I felt like a complete failure. And that's when I hit the bottom, rock bottom. And for some of us to wake up, we need a wake-up call. And I kind of got mine. And it's while I was at the bottom, I realized that what I'm doing and who I'm being is just not working. Billy the Boxer was no longer serving Billy, because the traits that I had as a boxer, they really served being in the boxing ring. I was aggressive. I was domineering. I was selfish. I was always right. I was inconsiderate. Those traits that sometimes kick off within us, they were present for me all the time, but I didn't know how to be any other way. But that didn't work for Billy. Billy the Boxer, I had to put him to rest. And that was a challenge. This was back in the day. This is 20 years ago. I've been retired from boxing. So 18 or so years ago, that was when I started on my journey. And I was ashamed where I was at. I was embarrassed. I was stuck. I didn't know how to ask for help. Mental health wasn't really openly discussed back in those days. So I kind of figured it out for myself. Well, didn't figure it out really. I made a complete mess of it. I crashed, hit the bottom, and eventually I found the courage to reach out and get myself a coach. All athletes have coaches. We know that. It's so important to be coached by others. Lots of successful business people, they have coaches. And sometimes we need a coach for our lives, if you think about it. Look at the people that we've lost. Amy Winehouse, George Michael, Robin Williams, to name a few of extraordinary people, but they just couldn't manage themselves and their lives. And I was kind of there with them. So I had to really start to dismantle who Billy the Boxer was, because I wanted to break free from that, to reinvent and create myself from anew. And it was a real journey, and it wasn't pretty. I started reading loads of books, going to seminars. I went to seminar after seminar, become a seminar junkie. I loved it. It kind of awakened something within me. And I started to really dismantle myself. I peeled back all the layers of my identity to discover who Billy was. And that's who's there before you now. And that's taken some time. And it's funny because while I started on that journey, I started to work on myself. I realized how much that I love people, which really shocked me because I spent all my life bashing people up, or getting bashed up more like. My poor nose, I have no idea how many times it's been broken. What a silly place to put a nose. That is a design fault for human being fighters. So anyway, I really awakened to my life purpose as I was going through that transition. I found the transition from being an athlete to life in this so-called real world, a difficult one. And I awakened to my passion. And it's all about inspiring and empowering people to live a life that they love with passion, power, and purpose. And that's what this business is all about. Cash FX can give you a purpose, inner power. We need that inner power and the passion to succeed, the passion to get freedom, whatever it is that you want from this business. It's available if you go and do the work. And it's going to take something, but we're all kind of champions. That's why we're here, because all those of you who are here tonight, you ain't normal. This is not normal. This ain't normal to be here on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock talking, looking at and inquiring into how you can win more often. It's not normal. So you are extraordinary. So I want to acknowledge each and every one of you just for showing up. Because if you keep showing up, you're going to win the game. It's about applying yourself, which is what you're doing. So I honor and I respect you for that. And I honor your time. I really, really appreciate that. So the 7-step winning formula. This is what's going to have you win more often. Step number 1, win or lose, you choose. Would you like being the cause of your life and not at the effect of it? This is the key. So my question to you is, do you ever wonder, do you ever consider, how do you end up the way you ended up? Why have you got the life you've got, the body you've got, the money you've got? Why is that? And why do you do what you do? That fascinates me. So I believe there's always a reason why we do what we do. Now, the access to your future is based upon that stuff, the driver. So the reason why I became a boxer was because my 2 older sisters, Mandy and Lisa, used to beat me up when I was a kid. They used to dominate me when I was a youngster. When I was 5 years of age, they would sit on me, they would pin me to the floor, they would wave their hair in my face. They would just torment me. You know, when it's 2 against 1, they were bigger than me. And so in that moment, I made the decision. I decided that no one's going to ever beat me, dominate me, or hurt me, or get on top of me ever again. And so I decided that at that moment. But at that same time, I decided that I was weak. I couldn't fight my sisters off, so I must be weak. So I was being at the effect of my situation and my circumstances. So there I am, 5 years of age, and I start to think that it's the truth that I'm weak. I can't fight my sisters off, so I'm weak. So that decision went into my future, and I had to find a way to cover up, survive being weak. That's why I become a boxer, to prove something. So then when I was 11 years of age, my 3rd amateur boxing fight, this was 40 years ago, but it was a gentleman's evening. If you know about boxing, gentleman's evening, room full of guys, all in their dicky bows, smoking cigars. It was one of those nights. I boxed for 3 rounds. I go to the centre of the ring and I wait the decision. They put the other kid's hand up. Jason Migo, who's a mate of mine. I was devastated, absolutely devastated. So in that moment, I made the decision that I wasn't good enough. So I'm 11 years of age and I think I'm not good enough and I'm weak. So I had to find a way to prove that, and I want you to consider, what is the story that you're running? And what's your opinion of yourself? Is it the truth? My mum says opinions are like belly buttons. We've all got one and they're all different. But is your opinion of yourself inspiring you and empowering you? I wonder, something to consider, because those stories that we run, they're old patterns. They may not be the truth, because certain things happen in our lives which may shape our futures. And then we may choose to be a certain way to cover up and survive. So my story was, I was weak, so I become really tough, courageous and persistent to cover it up. And that was my survival mechanism. And that was kind of my winning combination. So we've all got one. I wonder what your winning combination is. I wonder what you do to win more often. Are you tough? Are you persistent? Are you courageous? Are you funny? Are you really educated? Are you really smart? What is it that has you win? That's what we want to show up more often. But then also the traits, win or lose, that you choose, the traits that I mentioned earlier, I am and I was aggressive, domineering, selfish, self-centered. Those things, they get triggered sometimes. So we have to choose which one of those is going to show up, the good traits or the bad traits, because we are going to get triggered. So it's being consciously aware of the choices that you're making. Win or lose, you choose. And it's about practicing and recognizing and being aware of the choices that you are making, because lots of us are unconscious. And that's the challenge. If we can wake up, we are going to be a success in all areas of our life. If we can get really present to the gift that's available tonight, Cash FX, and what that can provide for you in the future, just practice how you think about that. Practice what you say to yourself, the internal dialogue. How do you talk to yourself is so key, because win or lose, you do get to choose. Because if you think about it, what has us be the way that we are right now is based upon the choices and the decisions that we've made in the past. So then the future, who we're going to be in the future, the results we're going to get is all based upon the choices and the decisions that we're making right now. I mean, moment by moment, moving forward, tonight, tomorrow, every day, get conscious. Once you get aware of it, then it becomes easy and more natural. Win or lose, you do get to choose. So as we choose the future, as we choose Cash FX, we got to powerfully choose it every day, because you're going to get knockbacks. There's going to be setbacks. It ain't always going to go according to plan. That's life. But you got to choose it every day and put your survival, your armory on, and get out there and make it happen and play to win. And that's the choice that you got to make. But something may get in the way, and it's fear. Has fear ever stopped you in your life? Who do you be in the face of fear? Who do you be in the face of rejection? Are you fearful of that? Who shows up? It's having the courage to overcome that stuff, because it's made up what we make it mean. So what's going to have you be a success in Cash FX is the ability to overcome those knockbacks, those setbacks, and be the champion that you really are. And that's what's available. So would being able to confront and overcome your fears be of value to you? Absolutely. Would it? Absolutely. Would you like to be fearless? I wonder what you do if you're willing to overcome your fear more often. So my first experience of overcoming fear was when I was 13 years of age, and I was boxing in the national schoolboy finals, and it was going to be decided who was the best in the whole country. I was absolutely petrified. I can remember it so clearly. I couldn't sleep the night before. I couldn't eat anything. I was a nervous wreck. And when it came to my turn to box, now my dad was my coach. So as we went to put the gloves on before we stepped up into the ring, I went up, I looked at my dad. I said, Dad, I can't do it. Dad, I can't do it. I was frightened to death. And my dad looked at me and says, what do you mean you can't do it? I don't believe it. But Jesus, this is the final. What's the matter with you? My dad's Irish, by the way. He says, what? What do you mean you can't do it? And I looked at him. I said, Dad, I want to be sick. I want to be sick, Dad. I'm going to be sick. And he looked at me and he said, Jesus, well, go and be sick then. And he clipped me around the back of the ear, and I ran off looking for someone to be sick. And I found these big drapes. I went behind these drapes. And I was actually physically sick. I wiped the sick from my mouth. I stepped up into the ring, a petrified young man, and I stepped out a champion. And that was my first experience of overcoming fear. That moment shaped my future because I realized if I can find the courage to step up, put myself at risk, be prepared to fail, I can succeed. We can succeed. If you're willing to step up, you can succeed. With the right team around you, with the right environment, you can succeed. You might have to overcome your fear. So I want you to look at and consider, in what area of your life would having more courage be helpful? Is it your self-expression? What is it? There's something, anything stopping you and get in the way. Because that's, once you break through that stuff, the world will occur different. And your business will occur different because you won't see people as obstacles or possible rejections. You'll embrace them and share yourself powerfully. And that's once you can do that, you can overcome anything. That's what excites me. It's about confronting and challenging and overcoming your fear. What would it make available? I wonder. Well, for one thing, it would make Cash FX a success for you. Overcome yourself, get yourself out of the way, just share what's there. And fear, don't trust it, it's a liar. Don't trust it. Get logical, get in your logical mind. Think about the pros, the cons, what's stopping you. But then I want you to think about going into your heart, mind and heart, brain and heart coherence. Once you connect with what it is that you want in your heart, then put that out into the future. So wherever you want to get to, whatever level you want to get to with Cash FX, go inside. What's that gonna feel like for you to succeed and get there? And then connect with that into the future. Then we live into that future and we pull that future towards us. We take inspired actions. We raise our energy. And it's not about fear. It's not about getting like numbed down. It's about uplifting ourselves, connecting with joy, all those elevated emotions, what it is that you want for yourself in your future. And you know what you got to do? You got to fight for it because it ain't going to be easy. There's going to be challenging times ahead, and that's life. So my dream was to win the world championship. So I got the opportunity of a lifetime to fight for the world title in Las Vegas. And it's about unlocking and unleashing the fight within you. Tonight, it's all about you. Would that be something you're interested in? Unleashing yourself. Why not? Vegas. I'm just a normal kid from Luton Town in Bedfordshire. I arrive in Las Vegas. I walk down the Las Vegas Strip, the bright lights, the limousines. And the MGM Grand at that time was the biggest hotel in the world. And I remember standing outside and I looked up and there was a big display unit. And my name was flashing in lights. Billy Schwer, Luton. I thought, Luton's on the map. Come on, the town. I couldn't believe it. It was like so surreal to be top of the bill in Las Vegas. Now, world championships are not easy to win, trust me, especially in Vegas. And Michael Buffer, let's get ready to rumble. He was the MC. So the fight started. Have you ever wanted something so bad? I was so certain I was going to win. I gave it everything. About 3 rounds in, bang, disaster struck. I got a big cut over my eye, blood everywhere. Luckily for me, I had one of the best cutsmen in my corner, Denny Mancini, to patch me up. He stopped the flow of blood. I carry on fighting. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. 2 rounds later, bang, disaster struck again. I got another cut over the other eye. It was a bloodbath. Eventually, the referee comes to my corner. He looks at us. He looks at Denny. He's trying to stop the flow. And he says to me, he says, kid, I'm going to give you 1 more round. And I'm sitting and I'm thinking, shit. Because what he meant was, you've got to go and knock him out this next round. Because if you don't knock him out this next round, we're going to stop the fight. Have you ever felt under pressure to perform? I went and gave it everything that next round. It was my best round, but I didn't knock him out. So my dream had been shattered. They stopped the fight. So my nose had been shattered as well. And I remember waiting to go and get stitched. I had to have 70 stitches, 70 stitches. And I'm sitting there waiting for the plastic surgeon to come and do his job. I've got a broken nose, blood running down the side of my face. My body's bashed up. And I think to myself, I'm thinking, there must be easier ways I can make a living. Surely, maybe I should think about getting a proper job or something. I've never had a proper job. Have you? I don't know what I do. I have a dream, and you got to fight for it. You may not achieve it first time around like me, but you got to get clear. What do you want for yourself, your work, your business, and your life? What is it? Get clear, get focused, have a clarity of your vision. Hatch a plan. We work a plan out, and then we work the plan, and we get it fulfilled. With the right support around you, anything's possible. I got top of the bill in Las Vegas. I couldn't do it on my own. I had a great team of people around me, supporting me, inspiring me, and empowering me. And it's a challenge. When I retired from boxing, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Fight for what you want. I didn't know what I wanted. And I found that a real challenge. But you've got to never settle. Always fight for what you want. So I tried loads of different things. I was going to be a film star. If you never ever need evidence that there's a worse actor out there than Vinnie Jones, go and rent it. Ain't worth buying the Mean Machine. I was in that. I did a few films. That wasn't it for me. I was going to get a job in the city as a trader on the stock market. So I pursued that. I was learning to trade in the stock market. I was doing spread betting. I was reading all the books. I pursued that, but that wasn't. I'm a dyslexic boxer. That ain't for me either. I was going to open a wine bar, a restaurant. I pursued that. I had to go and take an exam to get my license. I failed the exam. And I thought, oh, this ain't it either. My sister had a courier business back in the day before satellite navigation. I got lost all the time. I thought, this ain't it either. I was going to bring out a sportswear range. I pursued that. I was going to be a full-time personal trainer. I can't do anything full-time. I took up photography. I took up deep sea diving. I took up horse riding. Not at the same time though, but that wasn't it. I took up golf. I tried a load of different things. I was even going to be a boat skipper. I had these visions of driving these big yachts around the south of France and the Bahamas. So I pursued that. I got someone to train me. We was out of the North Sea in a rusty old bucket. It's raining. And I'm green, I'm throwing up over the side. And I'm thinking, oh, this ain't it either, is it? Everything I tried left me, that gut feeling. So Cash FX, what's the gut feeling for you? Connect with your gut. And if it's right, then it'll resonate with you and then fight for it. So I realized what I was doing just wasn't working. But what I'm quite proud of is all the things that I pursued, I got to a point of, okay, that's not it. So then I moved on to the next thing. And I eventually found my thing. And what I want to do is inspire and empower people. And that's what I now do in my life. But don't settle. Just keep going and keep pursuing it. I persistently pursued my purpose, passion, power, and purpose. What is it for you? And that's something to consider and look at. Step number 4, you're only as good as your next fight. It's all about the future that you're living into. So you're only good as that future that you're living into. Would you like to live your life on your terms by your design? And that's what Cash FX is going to give you. If you think about it, live your life on your terms by your design. Design your life, create it, go live it, take action and have it. Just be it. It's available. So I come back from Vegas, allow my face to heal. I still have a dream. So I get back to work. Because I just fought in Vegas, I'm quite highly ranked in Europe. So I had a couple of fights and I'm ranked number 1 in Europe. I go over to Spain. I challenge and I win the European Championships over in northern Spain, a place called Zaragoza, in an epic contest. I came back home. I defended the European title 3 times, which moved me up the world rankings. And I got another shot at the world title. Wembley Arena, I'm fighting the very best. I'm ranked number 1 and he's the world champion, Stevie Johnson. So the fight starts. Stevie Johnson, he is brilliant and he's so quick. He was like lightning, unbelievable. He was brilliant. The first half of the fight was brutal. I got cut over my bridge of my nose. Then he patched me up and it went the full 12 rounds. And I'm in the center of the ring awaiting the decision. Did I do enough? Could I have done a bit more? Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is Stevie Johnson. It was a bloody nightmare. A bloody nightmare. I went home with more stitches in my face. But there was a lot of controversy after this fight because he failed the drug tests. No wonder I couldn't catch him. He was so quick. but he got off on a technicality. Yeah, he got away with it. Have you ever felt cheated? I was so disappointed. I was gutted. And it's like what I realized, the lesson from that experience, you're only good as your next fight is the future that you're living into. Some of us, we get stuck and we dwell in the past. Now, the lesson from that experience was to produce world-class results, you got to be powerful in the face of adversity, setbacks, and defeat, because they're coming your way. It's who you're going to be in the face of them. So I realized that. So I learned, and I realized now about leaving certain things in the past where they belong. Don't focus on the past. Don't dwell in it, because you know what happens? You get what you focus on, and you get what you think about. So don't even think about it, and don't get stuck with this present moment. If you don't like what you've got and the life that you're living, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the prize. What is it in the future that you want for yourself, for your life, for your family, for everything? We got to keep an eye on that prize. What we got to do with our day-to-day stuff, obviously. But let's not get stuck in the past. Let's not get stuck in what we don't want. And where our focus goes, our energy will flow. So be mindful of where you're placing your energy. Focus on that future that you want to live into and pull that towards you. That's so vital and it's so key. Play that game and play that game to win. And you can win it if you're looking into that future, dealing with what you got to deal with right now. And it is really all about the future. It's all about that future that we're designing, the future that we are creating. And it's so powerful once you get to grips with it. What it makes available, anything's possible. Step number 5 is taking it on the chin. Life is not always going to go according to plan. We know that. Bang. Here we go. Being resilient, powerful. We got to leave that stuff in the past. There's so much value in having that resilience, because you're going to get knockbacks. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get ridiculed even. People are going to call you all sorts of stuff. But we got to be bulletproof. We got to just protect ourselves from that stuff. Or surround yourself with this community so we can all inspire and empower each other through those tough times, because people will have a view of what you're doing. So just leaving that in the past, just leave that alone and focus on what it is that you want. And that's the key. So why I wanted to become the world champion, I'd failed twice. So I know all about losing. I know all about defeats. I know all about setbacks. I know all about that stuff. But who are you going to be in the face of it? You got to fight for it. So I go back to work. Great team around me. I'll get another shot at the world championships. Wembley Conference Centre. I'm boxing a guy called Colin Dunn. The fight starts. I start to build up a nice points lead. And I'm thinking, yes, this is it. I'm going to get ahead on points. Third time lucky. Yes, this is it. But then the second half of the fight started to get really, really close. And it's like it didn't go the way that I was planning it. A bit like life, right? And I go back to my corner after 11 punishing rounds. I sit down, my dream team has given me words of wisdom to take out into the final round with me. And the final round, I gave it everything. I had a great last round. I go to the centre of the ring and I'm awaiting the decision for the third time. Now, the referee grabs hold of my wrist and I'm thinking, he's going to lift my arm up in victory. I've done it. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is Colin Dunn. Third time unlucky. Do you ever feel like giving up? You're going to feel like giving up, Cash FX. Trust me. You're going to get knocked back. You're going to get set back. There's going to be people ridiculing you. You got to not give up. So I'd failed 3 times. I want you to consider, things sometimes you got to take it on the chin. And the difference between winning and losing is most often not quitting. The Cash FX business is you got to push through and not quit. Not quit on it, because you could be so close to the success that you can have. It's all available, and not quitting. What have you given up on, and what's the impact? Have you given up on anything? There's always going to be an impact. So consider that. We've got to keep pushing forward, moving forward, and jabbing and moving. Step number 6, jab and move. Always look for new approaches. And this is all about being able to respond and react quickly and effectively under pressure. Because as boxers, we are always looking for new angles, new ways of winning. So how to win more often is that. Because if you're doing the same thing over again and expecting different results, then That's not going to work. That's insanity, right? So we got to look for new ways of winning, new ways of being, new ways of listening, new ways of learning, new ways of we got to discover stuff for ourselves, but from a new. Doing the same old stuff maybe is not it. So as we grow and develop ourselves, and Cash FX is such a great platform and such a way for you to develop yourself personally, as well as creating a business at the same time. You can't not grow and develop yourself. Your business acumen will develop, everything will develop. So it's really exciting to be part of that. And you've got to fight for that. You've got to stick with it and not give up. So 3 failed attempts. So jab and move. What do I need to do differently? So I looked at my life and I thought, as a boxer, what I needed to do, because I had to move up a weight because making the weight was killing me. So I moved up a weight, which £5, the next weight category allowed me to be £5 heavier. It doesn't sound a lot, but sometimes in life, it's the small things that make the big difference, right? If you look at those little things over time, those little wins will have us win more often and win the game. We've got to celebrate the little wins as we go along. So I moved up a weight, got another shot at the world title challenge number 4. I met my opponent, Newton Villarreal, for the very first time at the weigh-in. He didn't speak any English. I didn't speak any Spanish. So we had nothing to say to each other verbally, but we had a great conversation with these. And I stepped up into the ring that night. I gave it everything. And I had the dream start in round number 2. Boom! I hit him with a right hand and he went over and he hit the canvas. And I thought to myself, yes, this is it. This is it. I hit him so hard and I connected so perfectly. I thought, there's no way he's ever going to get up from that. He's not going to get up. If he gets up from that, I'm going home because he should never get up from that. Guess what? He got up, didn't he? The fight was an absolute battle. We go a real punishing 11 rounds. So it's a 12-round fight. I go back to my corner. I sit down. I'm absolutely exhausted. And my trainer, Jack Lindsay, my boxing trainer, he whispers in my ear, says, Billy, you're doing fantastic. You got 3 more minutes to go. 3 more minutes, then you'll be crowned the world champion. Just stick with it. We got just 3 more minutes to go. So the bell goes. I walk out to the centre of the ring. We touch gloves. We look each other in the eye. And Sir Winston Churchill comes to mind upon reflection, because Sir Winston Churchill, he once said, history will be kind to me, for I intend to write it. Who's going to write your history? I came out for that 12th and final round intending to write my history. I wanted to create that future. Those 3 minutes, they felt like eternity. It was agony. I was gasping for air, pushing through the pain. I took a big punch around the back of the head. I was in a haze. It was agony. The bell went, the fight's over. The agony ceases. Barely able to stand. I go to the centre of the ring and I'm awaiting the decision. I look out into the crowd. I can see my mum. My mum's in ringside for all of my fights. I can hear my sisters and I can see the guys who have supported me from when I was a kid. We're all there together. It's like a family affair. And I eventually get to hear the words I've been waiting all my life to hear.
And the new RBO light welterweight. He's done it! Billy Schwer! Exhausted, shattered, but so delighted, as are all the faithful that have been following his career for 11 years. Billy Schwer has got his just reward at the end of it.
Yay. And here we go. So this is the belt. So this belt is a metaphor for you and your lives and your futures. What sacrifices are you willing to make to be the success that you want to be? What you're willing to do, you're going to go beyond yourself, but the results are available. Just follow the leaders, stick with it, take the coaching, develop yourself, and you will become the champion of your world. If I can do it, then anything's possible. And you might have to jab and move, look for new approaches, new ways of winning. That's the answer. And that's how successful people, they keep evolving and developing. So changes. So I had to make some changes. So when I won the title, it was celebration. we went back to, we'd organised a big after fight party in Luton, took the world title belt with me. And I kind of, on the way in the car, I didn't feel right. I started to feel a little bit sick. I had double vision. And then all of a sudden I thought, pull the car over. I need to be sick. I got out of the car. I was violently sick. So the alarm bell started to ring, the panic. So we went straight to hospital, missed the party. Everyone got really drunk without me. Everyone's going, where's Billy? Where's Billy? And luckily for me, I was near a hospital. So I went straight to hospital and they kept me in hospital for 2 days. Luckily enough, it was only concussion. They released me. I was the world champion. So that it was like relief. So then me being me, I go on holiday, I come back and I get back to work. I had my first defense only 3 months later. And I remember training for the fight and I got punched in the head sparring. And I thought to myself, oh, this don't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. So in that moment, I thought to myself, no, I'm not gonna share that with anyone. I'm not gonna tell anyone about that because it took me 20 years to win that belt. I've got to make it pay. I've got to make it work. So I went ahead with the fight and it was an absolute war. We knocked each other from pillar to post round after round. And in the 11th round, bang, game over. I got knocked out and it was back to hospital. But this time I traveled in style. I went in the back of the ambulance, as I mentioned at the beginning of the talk. In the back of the ambulance, that's when my world fell apart. And I had to jab and move. And it took some time for me to grasp that fact that what I was doing wasn't working. I need to look for a new approach. I need to look for a new angle. And I had to make some changes. So what changes do you need to make? What are you willing to make? What are you willing to do different? Because that's the key. And that's going to open up so much more for you. Just that willingness. You personally, your business, your work, your life. Just that's something else may be available for you. And it's all about boxing clever, which is step number 7. So this is the last step. So we're going to have some Q&A afterwards. So if any questions that you're thinking, just hold them back for a moment and we'll answer them for you in a minute. So boxing clever is really about engaging with those first 6 steps. It's about utilizing them so you can win more often and experience more success. About being mentally fit, physically fit, nutritionally fit, look after yourself as a whole. And it's about winning more often and experiencing more success. That's what we want more of, right? And that's why we're here tonight on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. That's not normal. You're all winners. You're all up to something. You are up to something with your life. And it's about teamwork, because without teamwork, the dream don't work. What's next for you? What do you need to learn? What do you need to take on? What's the future looking like? And it's all about boxing clever. That's the thing, encompassing your mindset so you can win more often. So let's have a little recap. Win or lose, you choose. Be mindful of the choices that you're making. Be conscious. Overcome your fear, KO fear. Because once you start to confront, challenge, and overcome your fears, you'll be able to produce results in the face of any circumstances. And you'll be able to create the business of your desires. Fight for what you want is number 3. That's so straightforward. Hatch a plan and fight for it. You're only good as your next fight. It's all about the future that you're creating and designing. Cash FX is such a great vehicle for you to create the future that you want for yourself. Take it on the chin. You're going to get setbacks, knockbacks. Jab and move. Look for a new approach, a new way of winning. And that is boxing clever, which is step number 7. That's what's available and that's what's possible. So I'm just going to quickly share with you what I actually do. I've got a program called the 12-round Billy Schwer Experience. I've got a brand new, I work with individuals and I work with groups. I've got a brand new group program starting end of next week. It's a 12-week mental boxing training camp. For this program, it's for men only, for this particular program. And the book is called Man Up. The reason why I've called it Man Up, I know it may not be politically correct, but if you go back to the beginning of my story, I was a man down. So I had to man up. And that's why I called it Man Up. I had to get up. And that was the access to it. So I've created this unique training program where you've got me in your corner fighting with you, alongside you and for you, as well as Dominic, to create and design the life that you want. And it's all about being the greatest self, your true self. And it's all about this success model. This is what the book is all about. This is what's going to have you be a success in Cash FX. Keeping in that positive cycle, being disciplined, being dedicated, having that desire. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Knowing what you want. So be clear, get focused. But what will happen, we get caught up in the negative cycle. The self-doubt is going to kick in. You're going to get distracted. You're going to end up in disappointment. That's just the way life is. So once you get mindful of where you're at in the negative cycle or the positive cycle, you will win more often. And that's the game that we're playing. It's all about winning more often. So if you please take a picture of this slide, take my number, drop me a text, drop me an email. If you'd like to have a conversation with me about what that looks like, working with me and Dominic alongside you, supporting you, empowering you, so you can win more often this year, so you can create the Cash FX business of your dreams, that's what's available. So I'm going to open it up now. I'm going to stop sharing. So Dominic, over to you, my friend.
Brilliant, Billy. That was brilliant. Thank you very much, mate. That was very well done. Lovely to hear your life story, mate. And, you know, like the serious challenge that you've had in the ring is obviously we don't get hit. People don't get hit in life, but you do get hit in different ways, you know. And sometimes it's more painful when it's, you know, mentally or, you know, somebody's giving you grief in all aspects of life, you know, that we've all, you know, we've all experienced that. So, yeah, no, it's great, Billy. Thank you very much. It's always great to have you on board. You're full of enthusiasm, excitement, and it's a great story. Guys, look, we've got a world champion amongst us. You know, it's not often we get this opportunity. He's been around the block a few times. He's got a little bit grayer now, a little bit older, a little more experienced. So any questions, we're going to open it up. Like I say, Billy doesn't normally take questions, but there's not too many of us on here. So let's, anybody would like to ask Billy a question?
Please do.
Yes, Billy, it's Keith Kruger speaking.
Keith,
how you doing?
Great story. I'm a sort of boxing fanatic since I was small.
Are you?
Fight with my father, listening to it on the radio, etc., etc. So great story, fantastic.
Thank you.
Not really any question about your presentation, but who do you fancy, Joshua or Fury?
Fury.
Yeah, I think so. Why?
What about you? Who do you fancy?
I think Fury's the more intelligent fighter. There's something about him. It's his mindset, his belief. He just, I don't know. He just has so much belief in himself.
It all depends who shows up on the night. If the Fury that shows up on the night, the one that beat Wilder the second time, I think he's a very difficult boxer to beat. He's so big and strong. He can fight and he can box. It's going to be. AJ will have his work cut out, but you know. It all depends who shows up at night. That's why boxing is so fascinating. You just never know, do you, how it's going to go.
It'll be a hell of a fight.
I love it.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks, mate. Anybody else like to ask Billy a question? Anything? We're fully open.
I got a question for Billy.
Yeah, Paul.
Paul, hello, Paul.
Hi, Billy. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Brilliant
presentation, really inspiring, and everyone tonight will be uplifted to hear what you've said. So well done, fantastic. Who were the guys that inspired you, you know, to be a business coach and a business mentor? And who were the sort of people that you looked up to? You know, obviously a few years ago since you've been a coach now. And who are the people now that you admire and respect and inspire you today as this present as well?
Well, without any shadow of a doubt, Dominic, he's my man. He's my man. So I started training and developing myself 18 or so years ago. I did a program called the Landmark Forum, and that was created by a guy called Werner Erhard. So I've done a lot of his work, and the study, they call it ontology, which is the study of the art and science of being. So it fascinated me. When I got involved in that kind of education, and it was an experiential learning, which is what my training is, it's the same.
Right.
So that for me was the access for me to creating a new life. And then I kind of just, when I was in my deep depression, to get out of that, it was just kind of just I wanted to get back into a place of feeling good about myself, because I didn't feel good about myself, because I'd caused a lot of pain and suffering and chaos in my life because I was fighting everything. I was a fighter, but I didn't know how to be any other way. So that kind of studying, really, I dismantled myself, and it gave me an access to a whole new way of being. And so I got to create Billy, not based upon Billy the boxer. I created Billy from anew, and I got connected with myself, because I struggled through that period, and now I'm honestly, I love myself. Self-love. I've forgiven myself. I've healed myself. I've been through some tough times, but I've actually healed myself. So I love myself. I love my life, and I love the future that I'm creating. So I'm a 10 out of 10. I'm living my life by my design, and I've caused it and created it. So if I can do that, then anything's possible for any one of us. And people that inspire me are people that are happy, fulfilled, satisfied. And it's not necessarily about the success in life. Those people who are a success in life, in their marriages, in their relationships, in life, in their business as well, they're the people that I admire. And now with that will come a byproduct of making money, having things, buying things, that stuff. Because I've lived that life as well. I've had all of that stuff. I've had the car, the house, the lifestyle, and I realized, but that's not it. That's just kind of a trap. But let's have that anyway. It's available. So why not? Let's have it all. Let's have everything. But ultimately, I want to always go into my heart and just be happy, fulfilled and satisfied, and be a success in every area of my life. Because we can all have that. It's available for every one of us, Paul, right? That's what this business makes available. It's just an access. It's a vehicle for people to get on board with and learn, develop, and grow themselves, and get another business, get another stream of income. Makes complete sense to me.
Excellent and well said, and thank you for sharing that as well. Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Paul. Lovely to see you, mate.
Thank you. Thanks, Billy.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Sorry, I wasn't sure if the microphone was on. My name isn't Lloyd, actually. I'm Kerry. This is Lloyd. But...
Kerry and Lloyd. Hello, mate.
Oh, thank you so much for your talk. It was really inspiring to kind of go through all the ups and downs and everything that you've experienced in life. But my question to you, Billy, is on those days that we all have, and you go into your mind and your mind kicks off and it tells you you're crap, you're this, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. What tools and techniques do you have in your toolbox that you tap into to kind of to get yourself out of that place as quick as possible?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's something that we're all dealing with every day, and that's mental boxing. So even just distinguishing it, once you go, if you can catch yourself, I go, oh, I'm having a mental boxing match with myself. And what I do is the tool that I use and the place that I go to, I just focus on what I can control, because we can get sucked into a world of, we just got no control over it. Then we get lost into it. And what I've got good at is I watch the news, I look at the news, and whatever I see, I go into a place of gratitude. And I get really grateful for what I've got, the life that I'm living. And I'm so grateful for that. So that sets me up for the day. And I just focus on, that's the main thing. Step number one, I talked about win or lose, you choose. Choose to place your energy up, because if wherever your focus is, you're going to get more of that. Yeah. So if the trouble is, if you're on a bit of a downward spiral, that self-doubt, that getting distracted, this disappointment, so you've got to interrupt it. It's like we need a pattern interrupt. We need to, and it's difficult sometimes because we get sucked into it. I mean, I've done it. I've got lost for hours or maybe days where I just can't see a way out. And and sometimes I've quite liked it because I've kind of wallowed in my self-pity, and I kind of quite liked it because of drama. I was addicted to drama and mess and chaos. There's a bit of me that quite liked it, but it didn't serve me. I thought that I liked it, but it didn't serve Billy and what I was up to. And it definitely didn't serve my business. So I had to learn how to interrupt that, get refocused, then cause myself, do something, exercise, jump up and down, do anything to kind of just break the pattern, and then refocus on what it is that you do want. Because that stuff that we get caught up in, we don't really want that. We just get pulled into it, and other people may trigger that for us. So we got to be so careful of who we're surrounding ourselves with, because we are a product of our environment, if you think about it. So what are you listening to? Who are you speaking to? Who are you interacting with? What you're looking at? What you're reading? What you're seeing? So that's where I just be so mindful of the just putting positive stuff in. And if there any negativity, I don't really get any negative around me, because I just deflect it. So that's the kind of way that I deal with it. But I've kind of trained myself. But it's where your focus goes, your energy will flow. So if you're that negativity, that mindset, if you focus on that, get caught, then you're going to go there, and you might lose the whole day, like I've done.
I say that saying where energy goes, focus goes, energy flows. I say that nearly every single day. Do you?
Billy, you have just gained a lot of respect from a person that's very intelligent. And wow, I say no more. I think everyone should respect what you've just said through the whole of this whole presentation.
Really is, because we are energy. Yeah. And it's so important to where we place in our energy. Let's not waste it. We've only got so much of it. So let's get that, and we can lift it up. I meditate most days. I'm very much into self-care, looking after myself, being mindful of who's in my corner, who's got my back, who's in my team. And if anyone shouldn't be there, then they're not going to be there.
And then, like, energy and time, you can only ever use it once, and when
that's
it's
it.
gone.
And then we got 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Let's use it wisely, and let's focus on the outcomes that we do want. Let's keep that in our minds. Focus on that future.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, guys, and good luck. I will see you again. I have no doubt. Darren, yeah, do you want to speak, Darren? Thank you, guys.
We've got question. Oh, sorry, Darren. Did you have questions?
Yeah, it's not a question. I just want to say a couple of things. I have the pleasure of being friends with Billy anyway, and I've met Billy a couple of times, but I'm not a big book reader. I would recommend getting his book. This is to everybody else, not to Billy, obviously. I've read his book. It's about the only book I've actually read, purely because I'm a boxing fan, but some of the stuff was related to tonight. If you read it, if you buy his book, it's not very expensive. He might even sign it for you as well, because he did me. It's definitely will help you with the CFX mindset and all the things that he was saying tonight. So I just want to say thanks for the invite tonight again. And I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did, because I've taken even though I've read the book and now just listened to the audio version almost, you've got to read that book as well, if that makes sense. And exactly what Billy said tonight, with all of the 7 points, are 100% true. So go and get the book is my recommendation tonight. And have a good evening, everyone. Thanks to Billy.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, mate. Lovely to see you. Thank you.
A hand up for Susie and Des. I think we've got a quick question. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Hello,
Susie.
Yeah. Look, I'm a business coach, and I'm in awe of what you did. It's the morning for us here. Billy, it was just amazing. And
where are you guys?
We're in Australia. We live on the Gold Coast, and it was 6 a.m. when we started.
Oh, lovely.
Well, definitely worth getting up for.
Ooh. Champions.
And I think, one of the question that arose for me was, and this is about relationships, and I spent a lot of time with people trying to help them understand that relationships come before the transaction. If you don't have the relationship, the transaction might not even happen. But one of the things I find is I can have a relationship developing with somebody. They're kind of interested in CFX. They're almost ready. You think they're almost ready to proceed, but they have the conversation with the partner, the significant other, and then they disappear. They don't even answer your calls. So I'm just wondering, have you got kind of a process that helps with that? Because I've experienced it a number of times over the years, and I still haven't cracked it, I have to tell you.
Des, I've even got a name for it.
Yeah.
Not just what you said, they're ignoring it. It's actually called ghosting. So they ghost you, all of a sudden the people just disappear. So it's a great thing. If ever you want anybody out of your life, just present them to CFX and you just never see them again. It's great.
And it's tough, that bit, because you put all the work in, you get rapport with them, you enroll them into what's possible. And you know, it's human beings. We're funny old things, aren't we? Human beings. I think some people, they struggle saying no. They have trouble saying no to people. So they kind of lead you down the garden path, so to speak, rather than just being straight and being honest. So maybe a place to look at would be in your creation with those people. Given, I know we're trying to enroll them. We want them to become part of our team. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we need to be a bit looking at giving them an out, making it, saying certain things in a certain way that may give them an out to say no, because it's a waste of everyone's time. But if you could word it in such a way that they can say no, then, because we don't like to do that though, do we? Because we don't want people to say no. So we kind of G them up and carry on with it rather than being straight with people. So maybe Des, is there anywhere that you could be any straighter with them? So then they could then make maybe more of an informed choice. I don't know. Maybe that's a place to look, because I guess we have to be fully responsible for what's happening in our lives. And people are going to knock us back. They're going to not agree with us. They're not going to take us up on our offers. We're going to get rejected. That's just life. And that's the way that it is. But if we're very powerful in how we create the opportunity and what's available in such a way that it gives them, they can't see that when they can say no if they want.
Yes. Okay.
Rather than lead it, because then we end up just chasing people all over the place, and then it ends up being a nightmare, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right.
But then if we were clear, if people would say no, go for no. Have you read the book, Go for No?
I know the concept, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so it's maybe more of that stuff, getting no's, getting more no's, get them cleared, then move on to the next person.
Terrific.
It's like
thank you very much.
Des and Susie, it's very much like, obviously, when Billy went into the ring, he knew he was going to get hit. Yeah, there's no question about that. And so it's the same. It's pretty much the same in life and everything we do. You know, whether you're selling cash FX or whether you're selling yourself to somebody, whatever it is, you're going to get no's and rejection. And I suppose once you know that that's going to happen, you deal with it better. Like Billy says, get through the no's, and it's an old cliche, but get through the no's and the yeses will be there. Just you guys, I know you're on the Gold Coast in Australia, but on a Thursday night we have it's UK time, so I don't know what the time. UK time, 8 o'clock. We have a Q&A. We have a social night on a Wednesday. So, you know, Q&As, and it's all Cash FX people, members or new people or whatever. So you're very welcome to, if you can stay up. I don't know what time. So that's on Thursday.
8 a.m. What is it? 8 a.m.
Our 8 p.m. So
8 p.m. Yes. Oh no, it's the same time as now. It's 6 a.m.
So I know it's early, but you know, it's well worth it. It's a good night, and it's a social for an hour or so. So yeah.
We're up anyway. I'll connect with you on Facebook if that's okay.
No problem. Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. No problem.
Thank you very much. And we'll get your book too, Billy.
Yeah, that's great. And he'll sign it. And he'll sign it for you as well, I'm sure.
Does that help? I think that's a really good point for us all to consider. It's about how we're creating the opportunities in our lives for people and giving them enough information for them to say no or say yes. Well, obviously we want them to say yes, but if it's not right for them, then let's move on to the people that it is right for.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's not get stuck, and let's not overthink things or get some quagmire. It's just like, let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
Keep focused on the future.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So
thank
important. You. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Joseph, got the question from Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Unless he's waving. Joseph, if you'd like to unmute yourself. Hi, Joseph. How you doing?
Hi, Dom. I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, good, Joseph. Nice to see you, mate.
Likewise. Such an inspiring talk by yourself, Billy. Really, like, mindset and personal development is very close to my heart. So hearing the book has been absolute fire, I really have to say. And one question that I do have is like, what suggestions would you give, or what practical takeaways would you give on how to actually go about and developing such a hardcore mindset, whereby you go failure over plus failure without losing your enthusiasm? As we know, that's the general key formula to success. And the large reason why I asked this question is that I've found that sometimes having a very strong mindset, for certain people, it can come easy. But for other people, they may be wanting to have that mindset, but it might not come easy. And an example I can give with this is my partner and I recently watched a movie called The Disaster Artist. And I don't know if a number of people on this call have watched that movie, but it's a very good movie which has James Franco on it. And it had to do with this director or aspiring actor who was like quite socially awkward and not really very good at acting. He truly believed he was an amazing actor, but then if you had to have a look at him, you wouldn't think he's an amazing actor at all. But he had this belief that regardless of the external world, he was going to make his dreams come true, of which he did. But looking at him, you could tell it was sort of an engraved mindset. It wasn't necessarily a mindset that he had to go and learn. So what practical tips would you give to someone who doesn't have that embedded mindset but wants to develop it?
It's a great question. Again, it's about your desire. What do you want? What's your why? That's a great place to start, is why. A great video to look at is Simon Sinek. You go to YouTube and have a look. I don't know if you've seen that. Start with why. So looking at, if you've got a powerful burning desire. So the mindset, I heard this the weekend, no greatness without suffering. I'm okay with failing. I think you should fail our way to the top. Fail, get out there. We don't fail enough. People may be frightened of failing or making mistakes, but it's a great saying, we learn by our mistakes. We've all heard that one. So if we know that to be the truth, why are we so afraid of making them? We need to be in action more often. We need to fail more often. And that's how we're going to win more often. We're not going to win every time, but we're going to win more often. And having that resilience, I have failed in the boxing ring and in the boxing ring of life so many times. I don't view failing as a weakness or as a loss. There's so many lessons to be learned with our defeats, our upsets, our failings. If you can turn them into a positive experience, that will develop a certain sort of rock solid mindset. I talked about them overcoming, like being resilient and powerful in the face of adversity, setbacks, and defeat. So it's having that mindset. Now that's not going to be there instantly. It's about it's your interpretation and your perception of your failures, your defeats, or whatever it is that's there, that's present for you. It's how we interpret that. And then you need to go inside yourself, and the story that you may have built up about yourself and the failings that you've made, that may paralyze you and stop you. So that's why it's great to have a coach, because they can talk you through situations and circumstances so you can get free from them. Because a lot of the times we're in our heads talking to ourselves, which is not always a good thing to do. Have you ever noticed that? That person in your head is not always a great person to speak to. So maybe get some outside influence, get some other people, get some separate guidance for you to dismantle and analyze whatever you failed at. And just, okay, so once you distinguish what it is, what didn't work, then we can look to improve upon it. Then you're going to make improvements as you go, and then you're going to get the results that you want. I failed 3 times to win the world title before I went in my 4th attempt. That was over a period of years. So I was willing to go back time after time because I wanted something so bad. So whatever you're in pursuit of, is it a burning desire? Do you want it bad enough? Are you willing to get knocked back? In the face of it, who's going to show up? And that's going to give you the mindset of a winner. And it's all about attitude. Is your attitude having you win or lose? If you've got the right mindset, the winning mindset, the right attitude, you will succeed eventually. And you're going to fail along the way. But it's okay to fail. There's nothing wrong with failing. Because beyond the failures, that's where the results lie. The success is so close. It's closer than what you may think. But some of us, we give up. We give up too soon. If we just find the courage and the heart to keep pursuing what it is that we do want, whatever you want, have a dream board, write it down, speak it into existence, share it with the world, just get it out there so then you can live into that future. And it ain't going to be perfect. It ain't perfect. Life ain't perfect. Nothing's perfect. But who are you going to be in the face of it? Who's going to show up, Joseph? What do you want? Now, the fighter that you are, the winner that you are, that's going to show up. That's the person that's got to rise up. Even when you don't feel like it or feel a bit challenged, that's the bit to rise up, to step up, raise your energy so you can get what you want for yourself and your life, because it's all available. It's all possible. Anything's possible, Joseph.
Wow, yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Absolutely. I love how many times you use the word failure as giving advice towards success and ensuring that it's okay to fail. Yeah, thank you very much, honestly.
Thank you, Joseph. I hope that adds value to you. I hope so.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the question, Joseph. Anybody else would like to ask Billy a question? He's done well. 9:20 and still going like a true champion. Anybody else like to ask Billy a question? If not, we'll... Joy, did you have your hand up earlier?
I did, but in the interest of time, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I can share your mother, Billy. I can share your mother's trials and tribulations. I've got two sons that are sort of international kickboxing and taekwondo, and one's had to retire and lost his identity. And so I guess that'd be my one question. So my older son has had to retire. He's had to have a total hip replacement, age 32. Oh. He's lost his identity. He lost his income as a professional martial artist. When you were in a similar position, what advice would you give to my son as the first thing to do? The most important thing to do?
Have patience, because when I was 31, same thing happened to me. Yeah. And I didn't have any patience, and I kind of got lost and I got stuck. I lost my identity. But the thing was, when I look back now, I wasn't ready to listen. So if Billy now would have spoke to Billy back then, I wouldn't have been ready. So it's just patience, having patience, and just the belief and the faith in yourself that it will work out. If just be gentle on yourself, just go easy on yourself. There's no rush, and just allow it to unfold and just be with it, and just get him to maybe have. So I'll be happy to speak to him if you want, if that would help me, Joy. It's like,
he just Googled you.
Okay, listen, I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with him if that would support him, because I know how challenging that time is.
Yeah,
you lose everything, your whole identity goes, and it's like your life's over.
Yeah,
there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I found for myself, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't pretty. It was really challenging. No. But believe me, have faith. I've never felt any better than I feel right now. So that he can have that as well, if he's willing to do the work. So he's a professional athlete, so he knows how to do the work. It's just different.
Yeah.
He's so dedicated over there in his art. Now he's just got to apply the same discipline and dedication to himself and his life.
I'll buy him your book.
And he will be a success again. But it's all about it's going inside, feeling, going into his heart. Which is we're not normal, because as a boxer, as a fighter, our conditioning is to fight, defend, resist, confront, and attack. We don't know how to feel. Being vulnerable, that's like a sign of weakness. We don't do that. We fight. No. But that's the bit, is to let that in, to be vulnerable and just allow ourselves to show up. And that took me years to get my head around. And I kind of made a mess of it. It took me years to figure out. Mm. And chaos for myself and loads of others. I got there in the end. So keep the faith. Keep the faith, Joy.
Thank you.
Get my number if you want that. If you want to make that phone call happen, get my number off Dominic, and we'll make it happen.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Joy. Good luck.
Thanks for the
Thank
question.
you.
Okay, I think we're probably done then, Billy. You had a good night there, bud. Hour and a half in, so well done. Thank you very much. I think that was a great. Look, guys, like I said at the beginning of the conversation, it's not just we're here, Cash FX, we want to make money, but it's about whilst we're doing that, improving our lives in all aspects. Billy's talked about mental boxing tonight. Mental fitness and getting our head straight. We have the socials on a Thursday night. 22nd of April, guys, we've got Jordan Belfort, again, Wolf on Wall Street. Paul's organised that. Again, little money, it's 20 quid to come and listen to a guy that's specific around cash effects, about, belief when you're selling to people, all of that sort of stuff. So there's a whole wealth of information coming out of this. It's just a fallout from, what we're involved in. So, but yeah, but any of you guys want to contact Billy, myself, we're all about, and give us a call. Happy just to try and help people get success in life, whatever that takes, whether that means business life or, personal, whatever it is. Just want everybody just to move forward, because that's what it's all about. And it's good to meet you all here, and thank you all for coming. It's, I'm grateful for it. Thank you, guys. All right.
Thank you. It was brilliant.
Tomorrow night, Dom. Yeah, see you tomorrow night, guys.
Yeah, take care. Good night, everybody.
Hey, Paul. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Bill.
Dom.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.